so much for being here this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about where Donald Trump is right now in his campaign. He's coming off of a rocky couple of weeks. He got blasted over this weekend for being in Scotland on what seemed to be a business trip. As a Trump supporter, how critical is it, do you think, that he gets back on message this week?
See, I think that he is on message. You know, it depends on how you look at the situation. He called this Brexit vote, as opposed to President Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton saying no, no, no. It looks like they really missed the mark, whereas Donald Trump was on point. Look at what's happening over there. The British have spoken. They are very anti-establishment, pro-nationalist, and that's what's happening here in the United States with the Trump movement. That vote worked out in the favor of Donald Trump, so here we are.
Erin, let me ask you about that, because what we heard from Donald Trump in Scotland was he said the market volatility could help his personal business. As you know, a lot of Republicans were upset when they heard that. Is that staying on message? I mean, does he need to come back and kind of shift his tone a little bit?
I would love a president that could make lemon out of lemon, or make lemonade out of lemons, if you will. So he's over there, understandably. It is a rough situation, and it was an economic overreacting. But let's put it this way. If something bad happens, I want a president that can look at the silver lining and do something positive for the United States of America. And that's what Donald Trump is saying here.
Trump continues to say, look, he hasn't really started campaigning. You know, give him time. The poll numbers are going to shift around once he really gets into the race. And a lot of people are scratching their heads and they're wondering why he hasn't really gotten into this race from his own perspective when he had about 7 weeks of the general election to himself, when he had clinched the nomination before Secretary Clinton had. Why isn't he firmly in this race, Erin?
Well, he's firmly in the race, but I do believe he's waiting until after the convention to ramp up his campaigning. He's a non-traditional candidate who's totally shifting paradigms. So what he's doing is waiting for the conventions. There's going to be a bump in press and a bump in numbers on both sides, honestly, with those conventions. Afterwards, he's going to hit the ground running with a great vice presidential candidate and likely win this nomination because of that. So I think, great. Let's take a back seat, relax, let Hillary Clinton fatigue herself, and then we're going to hit the ground running after the GOP convention and win the election.
I have to ask you about the big news here out of Cincinnati, what we've been talking about all day, the fact that Hillary Clinton had her first joint event with Senator Elizabeth Warren. I'm wondering what you make of that, and I'm wondering why Senator Warren is so good at, as a lot of people have pointed out, getting under Donald Trump's skin. Why does she get to him?
I don't think she gets to him at all. I just think, you know, she was out there sounding a little bit, in my opinion, like an angry, bitter woman. I think Hillary has her out there for her own edification, which is she's from the Bernie Sanders type, and she wants to electrify and get those voters to vote for her instead of being anti-establishment and vote for Donald Trump. So really, I don't think Donald Trump makes anything of it other than it's
appropriate.
Excuse me?
Erin, is it appropriate for him to call her Pocahontas, as he has?
You know, I'm actually of Native American descent, and I think she's one of the most well-known Native Americans. Perhaps it's a compliment.
All right, we'll leave it there. Erin Elmore, thanks so much from your perspective this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And that was